Creative ideas and solutions are right under your nose. You just have to learn to look for them. Now, if you want novel solutions, you can take actually something right in front of you and ask, well, how else can this be done? What other ways can this be achieved? Now, this is using something called the functional concept. If you can find the crux of what makes something work, and then rework that into something different, you have just invented a new solution, you've just innovated. I'll run through an example. Let's take a chair, for example. Now, a chair it has a functional concept of supporting your weight. So actually being able to sit down, it supports your weight and you're not going to strain yourself. Okay, so if we had a chair in mind, that's fine, but let's ask now, what else could support your weight? How else could your weight be supported? Start running those ideas through your head, and your brain is no longer limited to what you think is the structure of a chair, but now you can go elsewhere, you can start to use imagination. So supporting weight, it could be something which it supports you leaning forward. You don't have to have your bum on the seat. It could be something which actually suspends from the air, and so it doesn't have to actually be a chair on the floor. It could come from the air. It could be something where you lean against, so you're not necessarily having to sit on it, but it could be supporting other parts of your weight. It could even be kind of some flotation or crazy anti-gravity tank which actually holds your weight without the need to actually have any object to support it. So what I've just done is I've taken something which is very familiar, everyone in the world has used, and I've gone back to the functional concept of what makes it work. And by doing that, you're then wide open to explore kind of this wider view on how else that can be achieved. But it's not just looking at innovations and product design, it's also working on making flawed ideas better. If you've got an idea which doesn't quite cut it, it's not quite doing it, then you can always ask, well, how else might this be achieved? In what other ways can we do this? And as soon as you start doing that, you're breaking down that rigid thought process that this has to be the way, and you're allowing yourself to work around and find other ways of achieving that. And as soon as you allow yourself to do that, you can come up with all sorts of ideas. Now, I once asked a group of people to come up with silly ideas, intentionally silly ideas, to make work more fun. And someone came up with the idea of having a roller coaster in the office, which sounds stupid, and a lot of the time you would see that idea and you say, no, let's crush that, that's stupid, it will never work. But with the beauty of concepts is that you can now take the crux of that idea, what lies behind the idea, not the idea on face value, but what is the crux of it, what's the concept, and how else could that be achieved, or what else could be done. Now, with our roller coaster, one of the concepts behind it was actually making work more of a sort of thrilling, fun-fair atmosphere. So instead of actually having an actual roller coaster, we can figure out, well, what else can give this atmosphere? What else can give this sense of fun? So we start rationalising down into things which can actually work. And what we ended up coming up with was a kind of games area. So you can actually have breakout areas where you can play fun games. You can have group challenges, you can have tournaments, you can have that sort of fun game atmosphere in the office. So it doesn't need to have to be something absolutely crazy and out of the realms of possibility, but the concept of actually this thrill ride, this having entertainment with others, it can come through. So concepts are an incredibly important way of actually coming up with new inventions, but also getting yourself unstuck from ideas which aren't necessarily working at the moment and finding new ways of making them possible.